Hello, dear children. Namaste and very warm welcome to the next session of our Bio Bites in 15 Minute series for ICSE Class 10. This is Ambika, your biology master teacher, right here on the super amazing platform of Vedantu. Well, guys, let's get started today. Our topic is going to be the central nervous system. And remember, this series is especially intended for those of you who are looking for a very quick form of revision, okay? If you wish to study this topic in detail, please do check out our main playlist. You will find everything discussed in depth right over there. Okay, so yes, here we get started. The central nervous system. We'll be revising this in just a matter of a few minutes. But before that, as always, let's start with a positive quote, okay? Stay positive, work hard, and just make it happen. Right? Okay. And by the way, apart from YouTube, remember that Vedantu has a lot to offer you. So to check out the details of those courses, those amazing courses for you, remember to visit the link in the description box below and the pinned comment. And remember, the coupon code that you can apply would be AMBPRO to avail all this at the best rates. Right, children? Okay, and also for those of you who are NTSE aspirants, here is again a reminder of good news just in case you've missed out this message anytime earlier when we were all talking about this. Be part of the transformation and start preparing early with Vedantu. Remember, NTSE Stage 2 courses have been launched. This has already started on the 17th of December 2020, and this will go on till the 13th of Feb 2021. Okay, Monday through Saturday. To register right now without wasting any time, again, the link you will find in the description box right below. Right, children? Okay. So here we go on to start with the central nervous system. Of course, the nervous system overall in the human body can be categorized into two groups: the central nervous system, which we can call the body's master control unit, and the peripheral nervous system, which includes all the nerves, which are basically together, we can say, which together function as the body's link to the outside world. Of course, all of the rest of it which you see here, autonomic and the somatic and sympathetic, parasympathetic, would all come under peripheral nervous system. Today we are going to be just discussing the central nervous system in a very short span of time. Right, children? So mainly you just need to remember that this body's master control unit, which we call the CNS or the central nervous system, is mainly comprised of the brain and the spinal cord. Brainstem also, we can say. We can possibly, mention it separately as well, but chiefly the CNS is comprised of the brain and the spinal cord. Right, so let us get started with this. The brain and the spinal cord, you know where it's located, right? The brain is contained in the cranium, which is the bony box part of the skull, and the spinal cord is contained in the vertebral column, which is our backbone, right? Okay. Now talking about the brain, of course, you know that the brain is such a hard-working organ of your body. It does so much for you. Everything that you see here, it's taken care of by your brain. Touch, taste, vision, hearing, which means all your senses. And apart from that, planning, attention, decision making, speech, memory processing, emotions, even your heart rate, your breathing rate, movement and coordination, everything. Whatever is mentioned here and a lot more is taken care of by your brain. So mainly you need to remember that it's located inside the cranium, but of course, cranium is not the only protective covering of the brain. It's protected by a 3-layered set of membranes, which we call the meninges, comprised of the outer dura mater, the middle arachnoid, and the inner pia mater. We could possibly abbreviate them this way, DAP, okay? The outer dura mater, middle arachnoid, and the inner pia mater. All right. And apart from that, of course, outer to the meninges, you would find the bony coverings and, of course, your scalp or the skin. All right. So now, apart from this, there is also a special fluid which we call cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF in short, which is a fluid that circulates in all the cavities of your brain. Okay. So we can actually say that the CSF is, it pretty much acts like a cushion which protects your brain from shocks Okay, so it's not just a protective covering for the brain, it also protects your spinal cord, the cerebrospinal fluid, which is why the name cerebro and spinal comes in it. All right, now starting with the major parts of your brain. The main part is the cerebrum, which makes up a good majority of the portion of your brain. We can say that the cerebrum is divisible into two hemispheres, the right and the left cerebral hemispheres, which you can see very, very clearly in this particular image, right? Okay. Now, what do they do? Of course, we can say that they can be called the right brain and the left brain, respectively. And the left brain mainly takes care of logical aspects. It's focused on facts. Realism predominates. It's planned and orderly. It's math and science minded, and it prefers non-fiction. Whereas right brain is mainly said to be mainly concerned with emotions. It's focused on art and creativity. Imagination predominates, and in this case, it can tend to be occasionally absent-minded. It prefers fiction to non-fiction, and also the right brain enjoys creative storytelling. Okay, so of course, for every human being, both of these are present, but they don't function independently. Let us remember that they are connected by a special set of fibers, which we call the corpus callosum. Okay, so here it is. Corpus callosum can be said to be the sheet of fibers which connect and transfer information from one hemisphere of your brain to another. Okay, so in all human beings, both the hemispheres basically work in unison with each other with the help of the corpus callosum. Now, here we go. Children, as far as your ICSE class 10 is concerned, this is a super important concept. So I'll just mark it this way for you. The section of the brain, the outer gray matter, which mainly is comprised of the cell bodies of the neuron. The cyton of the neuron is what you see mainly in the gray matter. And the inner white matter, which contains mainly the axons of the neuron. Remember, this is super duper important, okay? Because diagram based questions can be asked from this, because in the case of the spinal cord, it would be exactly the opposite. Outer white matter and the inner gray matter. All right, I will show you all that also. And of course, structurally, the brain has got certain folds and grooves as well. The folds, the upper folds, which are called the gyri, and the depressions or the grooves, which are called the sulci or the sulci. Okay, pronounce it however you would best remember the spelling. That's what matters the most when it comes to the writing part. Okay, now apart from the cerebrum and the corpus callosum and the sulci and the gyri, we also have the cerebellum, which is a small area of the brain located at its base. But structurally, it's small, but it's very, very important in terms of maintaining balance and coordinating a lot of activities of your body. Okay. Right, and then comes medulla oblongata, which is roughly triangular in shape, and this is also part of the hindbrain. All right, so remember the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla oblongata are three major parts of the brain. But of course, for the sake of studies, the entire brain can be categorized as the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Okay, and all of this, the cerebrum, cerebellum, and the medulla would come as part of these structures. For example, the forebrain is comprised of two major parts, which are the cerebrum, which we have already seen, the seat of intelligence, as we could call it. And then comes the diencephalon, categorized as the thalamus and the hypothalamus. Thalamus regulates all your senses except smell, probably, and also your muscular and glandular activities. And the hypothalamus is also part of the endocrine system. But apart from that, it also controls your body's temperature and also takes charge of your body's emotions, majorly takes charge of your body's emotions. So this is what mainly is comprising the forebrain, the front part of your brain. And you can say that this is like the major part of your brain. And apart from this, we have the midbrain, which is literally the middle area of your brain when you go from front to back. Okay, it's a very, very small part. It's a small stalked part, as we can say, and it mainly controls reflexes involving your eyes and ears. It doesn't do anything apart from this. All right, and then comes the hindbrain, which is at the back. Okay, the cerebellum, pons and the medulla oblongata form the hindbrain. These are the three major parts of it. I think cerebellum and medulla, we've already seen what they do, at least an overview of them. Cerebellum coordinates muscular activity, especially maintaining balance. Okay, so I'll just write that balance word here. Okay, helps you balance when you cycle, helps you walk along a straight line and all of that. Pons carries impulses from one hemisphere of your cerebellum to the other, and this also coordinates a lot of muscular movement on either side of your body. And additionally, we can say that pons also helps your medulla control a lot of your breathing rate, respiratory rate. Medulla chiefly controls a lot of activities of your internal organs, and apart from this, your heartbeat, breathing, and all of this is taken care of by your medulla oblongata, forming the hindbrain. All right, children. So that was all about our brain, the forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain, and the subparts associated with them. Now coming to the spinal cord, which is inside your vertebral column. So what is special about it? Again, this is protected by the different layers, which are the outer dura mater, the middle arachnoid mater, and the inner pia mater. Again, the cerebrospinal fluid as well is present here to protect your spinal cord from various kinds of shocks. Okay, so yes, coming to the next important aspect of the spinal cord, which is about the gray and white matter. Remember, children, this is super important. In this case, it is outer white matter and inner gray matter. White matter because it's mainly comprised of the axons, and inner gray matter, which is mainly comprised of the cytons or the cell bodies of the neuron. Children, this is very, very important for you to know, for you to understand. I've given it in one single slide also. Okay, so I'll just mark this also as important. This is a symbol for important, just in case you're not familiar with this symbol. All right, so this is the frontal section of the brain, and this is the transverse section of the spinal cord. All right, so here we go. What all does your spinal cord do? It chiefly controls all the reflexes below the neck. Okay, spinal reflexes, as we may call them. And we can say that it conducts the sensory impulses from your skin and muscles to the brain and back as well. And it also conducts motor responses from the brain to the muscles and the glands in a way. Okay, so this is what the spinal cord mainly does. Children, the best way by which I love to remember the brain and the spinal cord as a single unit is remembering the brain as the president and the spinal cord as the vice president. Okay, right, and the president and the vice president together make up our central nervous system. So yes, the entire session in a bite size for you. The central nervous system is composed of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain is divided into the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. The various regions of your brain perform different functions. The folds in the brain, you call them gyri, while the depressions or the grooves are called sulci. Okay, and then what does your cerebellum do? Because that's a very important part of your brain. The cerebellum has got numerous furrows but no convolutions, and it helps to maintain balance and coordinates a lot of your muscular activity. Medulla oblongata, remember, it controls activity of a lot of your internal organs, and any head injury, especially if it's at the back of your head, if it affects your medulla, it could possibly cause death because it performs major functions like controlling your heart rate and your breathing rate. And of course, spinal cord has got gray matter on the inside and white matter on the outside, which is pretty much the opposite of what your brain has. So this is all about your central nervous system. Children, if you have found this useful for a quick kind of revision, supposing like this is on the eve of your exam or in your study holidays or on the day of your exam, please click on the like button right now and also share it with all your friends, because sharing is caring, as I always say. Children, we just want maximum number of children to benefit from whatever we have to offer you guys here. And stay subscribed to the channel Vedantu 9th and 10th English, because We have a lot more to offer you in the days and weeks to come as well. Right, children? And of course, follow me on Instagram as well, Ambika_Vedantu, because even there we come up with a lot of interesting and useful posts just for you. That's about it, children, and I will see you in yet another amazing session. Until then, keep revising, stay happy, and stay healthy. Bye bye.